Alrighty, there we go. Load. Here we are. Hey Chidori! How are you? Hope you had a nice week and a good start to your week. I have to remember where we were. By the time the black tea was laid out on the table and the elegant scent drifted around... Yeah, okay. The room was completely back to how it had been, in a peaceful mood as everyone praised George's knowledge. Ah, George had talked about tea to ease things for Shannon. I remember that part. Hey, Lupin. Good morning in the wee hours of the evening. Nice. Bear. Thank you. It made me late, so at least if it turned out okay, then there we go. Shannon wanted to thank him for saving her, but it didn't look like she would get the chance. So she at least thanked him inside her heart, praying to God that George would hear it and push the serving cart away. Oh, that's so precious. Oh, that's so sweet.
ジョージ兄さんは昔からそういう時には助け舟を出してくれるんだよ。話題をさらりと変えてくれるというかさ。
Shannon and Jessica could be seen in the rose garden. Jessica, having gotten into a fight with her mother, now felt unable to simply nonchalantly wander back into the parlor, and so found herself here, killing time. Hey Zikto, how's it going? Wow, we get to see the garden again. I had completely forgotten about it since the typhoon and everything. It was just like... I guess it was destroyed in the typhoon, or more or less.
思い返せば、こういう助けられ方をしたのは今回が初めてじゃない気がします。
Whenever I made a careless mistake and George-sama was there, he would always naturally smooth things over and make things harmonious, I think. Maybe it wasn't something as direct as picking up a fork that had been dropped, but that was his way of caring. Even servants have pride. They want to fix their own mistakes by themselves. Because if a guest helped them out with that, they would lose face.
そういう空気を読むのが得意なんだろうぜ。ま、ジョージ兄さんの美学なんだろうよ。あの人、妙に気ざったらしいところあるからな。
そんなことありません。とっても素敵な方だと思います。
ひょっとしてシャノン、ジョージ兄さんに惚れた？
Shannon had refuted Jessica's words uncharacteristically forcefully, so Jessica caught on immediately.
いえ、そういうことはないかと。
そういや、ジョージ兄さんってあまり浮いた話を聞いたことないし。あれ？確か家庭的な子がタイプだとか前に聞いたかな。そりゃいいぜ、シャノンぴったりじゃん。
私がですか？そんな、私にはそんな資格ありませんし。
資格はあるぜ。何年も昔から顔を合わせてて、半ば幼馴染状態。互いに男女であることを意識しないナチュラルな関係ってのは、一度意識し始めるとトントン拍子らしいぜ。
Cupid Jessica, I guess? Jessica loved teen magazines with these kinds of stories, and she was always on the phone talking excitedly with her friends about that kind of thing. She had keen intuition for this kind of romantic topic. So this wasn't the first time a topic like this had been brought to Shannon. But it was certainly the first time she had noticed George as a member of the opposite sex. She was furniture, and George was an honored guest connected to the Ushiromiya family. She had thought it impermissible to even imagine any deeper relationship. So she hadn't thought about it. Jessica was taking immense pleasure in poking fun at all this since it didn't affect her. Shannon was doing her best to make sure that her blushing cheeks weren't discovered. So if George showed up at a time like that, there would be no way that she would be able to keep her cool. They saw George come out from the entrance hall of the mansion. It looked like he had seen them as well. He headed over, waving his hand. Shannon had to frantically try to regain her ordinary composure before George reached them.
おじいさまがやっと降りてきたよ。あとは大人たちの話になるからって追い出されてね。
Oh, so he did come down in the end. Interesting.
そりゃ抜け出して正解だよ。じいさまの顔を拝むくらいなら疫病神にキスした方がマシだぜ。
そんな言い方は悪いよ。ただ、おじいさまは僕らのことを疫病神だと思っているかもしれないね。何しろ、事業用にお金を借りたいという話でやってきたんだから。
That's right. This wasn't the customary annual October family conference. Eva's family had visited to apply for a business loan from the main family. Kinzo had vast resources and he lent those out to his children. Of course, this was not money to lend because they had gotten themselves into financial trouble. How would they expand their business using the vast amount of money that they borrowed? How much interest would be attached and how soon could it be repaid? This wasn't a loan for the have-nots. It was a loan for those who were on the offense. Kinzo judged strictly whether it was worth lending out his fortune, and afterwards he strictly oversaw its use. So there was occasionally this spectacle where relatives visited Rokkenjima and explained their business to Kinzo. To the parents, it may well have been a meeting concerning the movement of large sums of money, forcing immense stress upon them. But to Jessica, who lived on this isolated island called Rokkenjima, it was a precious opportunity to meet up with her cousins. So even her bad mood from getting into that fight with her mother was immediately cured by this chat with the infrequent visitor George.
うちも全くケチくせえぜ。金なんて余ってるんだろうから気前よく貸してやりゃいいのによ。うちの親父もじいさまもどうせねちっこくもったいぶってんだろうぜ。
お金を貸すとき、慎重になるのは当然のことだよ。もちろんうちの父さんも借り入れた分で事業を拡大し、しっかり返却できるプランを持って訪れてる。
Yeah, about that. The future would disagree with that.
あとはプレゼンテーション次第ってところだろうね。本当は脇で見させてもらって勉強したいんだけど、母さんに追い出されちゃったんだよ。ちょっと残念かな。
親方様はクラウス様やエヴァ様のことを今でも子供の頃と全く変わらないように叱られるようです。そんな姿を息子のジョージ様にきっと見せたくないのでしょう。
As Shannon hung her head, she thought back on those scenes she had grown used to seeing while working in the mansion. Even Kraus, who acted haughtily towards his siblings, was still treated like a child by Kinzo. Shannon herself had often seen Kinzo slapping Kraus or making him sit in Seiza style. Ooh, wow, okay. It was probably deeply humiliating to have that forced upon him at his age. In the Ushiromiya family, taking care not to be present when this happened was one of the great tasks of the servants. Of course, that did mean that Shannon had been making mistakes by being witness to it.
そうだろうね。それを察して姿を消すのも子供の務めかな。それにしても今年もこの庭園の花は本当に素敵だね。
George stretched as he said that. And truly effortlessly, he changed the subject away from something that had become a little gloomy. This time, Shannon noticed it too. This person, George, was highly sensitive to the mood of a group and was always caring enough to change the subject to something harmonious. It had been so smooth that Shannon hadn't noticed until today. Today, Shannon had to really admire that behavior of George's. Almost all of the boys Shannon knew of her own age were her classmates during her education. But they were all immature and none of them had had the composure that George did. Oh no, cutie. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Even though he had been just another guest until moments ago, now she couldn't describe him with just that. But that was idle thinking, irrelevant to her work as a servant. Shannon tried to chase it away with a small shake of her head.
どうしたんだよ。
いえ、何でもありません。お茶のご用意をしましょうか。先ほどのアールグレイを 改めてご用意します。
紅茶の名前、覚えてくれたんだね。嬉しいよ。
その、さっきはお気遣いをありがとうございました。
Shannon was finally able to put her thanks into words. If you wrote them out on paper, they wouldn't seem like much. But Shannon had needed just a little courage to say them out loud. Aww. But George played dumb.
何のことだい？お礼を言われるような覚えはないけど。
It seemed he was being a gentleman in his own way, saying that he hadn't helped her because he wanted to be thanked. It seemed that George's response had been more or less predictable to Jessica. Oh no. Yeah, Bea is very fierce when it comes to protecting me from spoilers. I appreciate that. She burst out laughing uncontrollably.
なあ、こういうところ気ざったらしいだろ。
いえ、そんなことは。
Jessica made fun of Shannon as she remained silent, red-faced. George didn't know the details, but he naturally joined in, laughing the same way. The three of them lazily walked around the garden, talking about what was new. George, as the oldest cousin, talked about his life experiences. Jessica talked about recent life on Rokkenjima. And Shannon talked about her recent work. These silly little topics went round and round in circles. Even when the others' stories had been fascinating, Shannon had never felt particularly connected to their contents. She was nothing more than a servant, and she had no intention of delving into her master's lives. She simply wanted them to enjoy their time speaking with her, and was only pretending to listen intently and nodding at the right moments. But for some reason, she found talking with George deeply interesting today. Even for things that she would normally ignore, she felt like she could feel a kindness hidden beneath the words. Hey, Bloodnickel. Doing alright. Hope you're doing okay too. For some reason, she wanted to know more things about George, no matter how trivial. So she stared fixedly at him, okay? She thought that as far as looks went, this person, Ushiromiya George, was probably about average, and he didn't really stick out. But he was diligent, serious, and deeply thoughtful in a way that allowed him to understand people's hearts and care for them. That's where the true beauty comes from. That's what makes people shine. From the inside. But she had never been aware of these things until now. She might not have met him many times, but she had known his face for many years. Even so, she had not noticed once until now. So Shannon felt ashamed of this, and her cheeks went red. Maybe George thought that Shannon was appreciating him talking about himself, because he continued to relate his personal stories. But Jessica didn't miss that slight change in Shannon. So she turned the discussion around to the topic Shannon wanted to hear about most.
そういやさ、ジョージ兄さん、いい加減に彼女とかはできたわけ？
I'm telling you, Cupid Jessica right there. Right there.
なんだい、やぶから棒に。
Very smooth. Normally, just George's reaction would have been answer enough. But for some reason, as she was now, Shannon found herself unable to understand it unless he said it clearly.
その、ジョージ様はお優しいですから、さぞや、表になるだろうと。
いや、
Oh man, I can hear the pain in her voice. It's like, you are so great. You're probably very popular with girls.
よせよ、シャノン。
Oh, Bea. Oh, I appreciate you. Oh, that's so sweet. Hey there. I don't know how to read your name. Desolane? Is that correct? Is that how I'm supposed to say it? Hi. Correct me if I'm wrong.
そういう追い詰め方はかえって意地悪だぜ。
That's right? Okay, cool.
私は別に 意地悪のつもりは。
嬉しい勘違いをありがとう。残念だけど、特定の一人の女性とはまだご縁がないよ。
Yeah, it can still be fun even if you maybe have been spoiled. I have no problem going through stories even though I know more or less kind of where they're going. I'm enjoying the ride, but I think in this particular case, there might be something going in the direction of them wanting my, like Bea and Zekuto and whoever else is a big Umineko fan, maybe wanting this raw, pure reaction from me when things are revealed or whatever, without knowing anything beforehand. So I can understand when you care so much about the story that you want to take care of me as well as I go through the journey, so that it's untampered with. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
見ての通り、容姿も並以下だからね。
I don't think his looks are necessarily below average.
女の子を楽しくさせてあげられるような気の利いた話術もないし。
I think that's incredibly wrong because he can definitely hold a conversation.
そんなことないと思います。それに、男性の魅力は、容姿では測れないところで決まるんじゃないかと思います。
That is also very true.
だからその...
If I look at original George art... Okay. What does that mean? Do you have an example? The PS3 port buffed his appearance a little. Okay, okay, alright. He looks a bit chubby in the original art. Ah. Well, that's a little bit sad, because that shouldn't be a deterrent. A lot of things that are charming about a man don't come necessarily from his physical appearance. And a lot of the men I personally have been interested in did not make me interested in them because of their appearance. So... Alright. George definitely has that thing on the inside.
ジョージ様はとても魅力的な男性じゃないかと、思います。
Yeah, he definitely has charm. That's a very mom thing to say, I guess, but I'm not his mom. I have no connection to him. I'm literally just saying my opinion. Am I liking peak fiction? I'm enjoying the ride so far. I'm enjoying the ride so far. Hi. I am fine if the person is able to cook it in a pan and give it to me when I'm hungry. That's what matters. Ah, that's so cute though. Yeah, no, that saddens me to hear that, because everything that I have seen coming from George, and I'm not talking about his sprite, I'm just talking about just generally about his style and the way he approaches conversations and, you know, how he like smooths things over. I think it's incredibly charming. George definitely got some riz over there. So, yeah, it's sad that he is in this position. Well, I'm not so good looking, so let me put down everything about myself. Oh no, please don't. It makes me sad. Real men eat 5 dozen eggs every day. Oh my god, no. This is really bad. George's conversation skills, Japanese history info dumps. Yeah, why not? I would listen to them. Shannon was uncharacteristically verbose. Compared to her normal self, she was being very wordy indeed. George looked fairly pleased about hearing his own charm described, but he was just a little surprised at this high praise. Jessica, sure now that her own imagination was right on, acted as though she could barely hold back her laughter.
ありがとう、シャノンちゃん。
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. That does ring a bell. Oh, that feels bad. I'm so sorry.
僕に魅力を感じてくれるような寛大な女性に早く巡り会いたいね。
きっと巡り会えると思います。 ジョージ様の本当の魅力に気づいている女性は、きっといえ、大勢いらっしゃると思いますよ。
It's so funny because she's saying that and she is actually trying to mean it, to encourage him. But at the same time, she's conflicted because within her heart, it's like, I want to be that girl and I want to be the only one. Oh, it's so cute. Damn, Shannon, very subtle, yeah. She probably wanted to say there's a girl not very far away. She avoided saying that much, drawing a final line as a servant.
そうかな。さすがに照れるね。
Maybe he had never been praised this much by a girl. George's face turned just as bright red as Shannon's. Jessica definitely is in that position where she can barely hold it in. It must be really funny observing this. As she watched the two of them, Jessica giggled sadistically. Yeah.
ジョージ兄さんもやがては素敵なパートナーと出会うだろうけどさ。
No, everything will continue being wholesome. Desolane, no, you got the wrong idea. No, it's gotta stay exactly like this, where wholesomeness is not going anywhere.
今のままじゃきっと上手にパートナーをエスコートできないと思うぜ。
I say that as I brace myself internally for what's about to happen, whatever that is. My favorite thing about George is the way he deals with Maria. Yeah, he has a good way to go about it.
勤勉でいらっしゃるようだけど、そっちのお勉強はからっきしみたいですよ。
悪かったね。その勉強はこれから少しずつしていくよ。
相手もいないのにどうやって？恋愛映画でも見る？それとも秀吉おじさんに習う？
チェ。まるで鬼の首でも取ったみたいだな。こういう話では男は女の子にかなわないね。
Normally, when George and Jessica got together, their parents would say George is diligent and admirable, and Jessica is lazy and rude. So it was probably irresistible fun for Jessica when their roles were finally reversed. George also realized that, so this time he was content with being the one who was teased.
ジョージ兄さんさえいいならさ、シャノンでちょっと練習してみたら？シャノンを一日退屈させずにデートに連れてくんだよ。どうよ？
そんな、お嬢様。
When she heard Jessica's audacious plan, Shannon's face turned bright red and a donut of smoke rose from it with a poof.
それはとても魅力的な提案だけど、シャノンちゃんに悪いよ。彼女の貴重な休日を奪うだけじゃない。彼女が本当に思いを寄せる人と二人きりで過ごす聖域に僕が割り込んでしまうことになる。
That's you. I don't know if you get it.
そんな無粋なことはできないね。
私も思い人とかそういう人はいませんので、そういうお気遣いは、はい、無用なのです。
Shannon's blood had all rushed to her head and it looked like even she didn't know what she was blabbing about. Shannon kettle sounds, that's exactly it. Can't believe Butler missed out on all the juicy drama. Well, I'm actually quite fine without his bad jokes here. This is too wholesome, I love it. Jessica, who knew how Shannon normally was, seemed to find that really comical. She couldn't hide her cackling laugh anymore.
そうなのかい？シャノンちゃんみたいな可愛い子が独り身なんて信じられないね。
私、使用人ですから、男の方との縁なんてありませんし、
ってことは、シャノンも将来素敵な男性を射止めるために交際の練習が必要だってことじゃないのかよ。
Literally wasted episode.
つまり二人とも互いの思惑は一致するわけだ。
It's fine.
なるほど、こりゃいいぜ。
Jessica irresponsibly cheered the two of them on. Although, you know, maybe if Battler was here doing his inappropriate things and kind of getting Shannon mixed up in it, maybe that would put a little bit of fire under George's feet to kind of like have him rear like, wait, no, don't do that. But yeah, alas, that's not gonna happen. Right, so Jessica irresponsibly cheered the two of them on. Now George was also hanging his head red-faced.
ジョージ、さっきから呼んでるわよ。聞こえないの？
Since Eva appeared in what was already an embarrassing situation, both of them became even more flustered. Jessica was in stitches.
母さん、ごめんよ。話が込み入っちゃっててね。気づかなかった。
これはエヴァ様。大変失礼しました。
若い子たち同士で大層盛り上がってたみたいね。あなたたちもみんなお年頃だもの。
Oh my god, Eva being understanding? And almost nice? What is this? What alternate reality is this?
そういう話題が尽きないのもよくわかるわ。
嫌ですね。エヴァおばさんだってまだまだお若いじゃないですか。秀吉おじさんとの馴れ初めを聞かせてくださいよ。
I like this Eva, yeah. Eva is always nice. Okay, if you say so. Wholesome.
あらあら、そんなの言えるわけないわよ。本当にみんな若いんだから。
She's actually nice. Wow, okay.
それで何、母さん。
Natsuhi best girl.
用があって声をかけたんじゃないの？
お父さんたちの話が終わったわ。おじいさまにあなたの話をするからいらっしゃい。
僕の話？何の話かな？
今みんなでしてたのと同じ話よ。ほら、例の話。
あの話かい。別におじいさまに話すようなことじゃないんじゃないかな。
何の話だよ。まさかジョージ兄さん誰かと結婚するの？
それはおめでとうございます。
違うよ。特定の女性はいないってさっき言ったじゃないか。
威張ることじゃないでしょ。まったく。
Eva smiled bitterly, looking a little exasperated.
わかった。ジョージ兄さんあれでしょ。お見合いだ。
お見合いですか？
まあね。
As a man, George undoubtedly wanted to find a partner by himself and carry her off himself. So it seemed that he found the idea of meeting his partner for the first time in a marriage meeting arranged by his parents to be a little pathetic.
お見合いというのはもっと年齢が成熟してからするものじゃないのかな。僕はまだ一人前になったって自覚すらないというのに。
もちろん、即結納即結婚なんて焦る気は全然ないのよ。親睦を深めて、年齢的にもう少し落ち着いてから籍を入れる形でも問題ないの。
From the forceful impression Eva was giving and George's evasiveness, it seemed you could catch a glimpse of how this marriage meeting linked into everything. Who this other person was remained unclear, but it was surely someone profitable to Eva's family in a business sense. I still feel like a kid. Aww. It's okay. It's actually, I think it's very healthy to keep the child inside alive. It felt almost like a political strategy. They wanted to create a connection between the two families, if not by changing registers, then at least by having them get engaged.
結婚はね、好きになってからするものじゃないの。してから慣れることよ。
Oh man, Eva.
感情だけで結婚すると必ず後悔する。身元のしっかりした人を生涯の伴侶に選んで、それから愛情を築いていくのも決して間違ったことではないの。
I do agree with the sentence that it shouldn't be based purely on emotions. You should definitely vet them for the things that you need from a partner and the things that they need from a partner and see if you're compatible and stuff like that. But she's pushing this because of her own interests, so all of this just flies off the window.
エヴァおばさん、それじゃ秀吉おじさんに悪いですよ。
I understand the context. Still, I can still say my opinion now in 2023. I don't know what it was to be exactly, you know, like a person who lives in the 80s. I don't know if I can teleport myself there and, you know, impersonate that. I'm stating my own feelings about it. Eva, best mother, there's definitely a layer of self-interest there. You gotta recognize that at least.
私はあの人のこと大好きよ。いつまでも一緒にいて人生を共にしていきたい。
エヴァ様、素晴らしいです。本当にご立派です。
ありがとう。でもその気持ちは二人で夫婦をしていくうちに育んだものよ。そして今の私たちより未来の私たちの方がもっともっと仲良しだと信じてる。私は夫婦はそういうものがいいと思ってるの。
だからって好きでもない相手と結婚してもいいって論法にはならないと思うけどな。
だからって好きな相手なら誰と結婚してもいいという論法にはならないわ。
Both sides are right. The whole point is not to go to an extreme and find a middle ground.
結婚は一瞬。でもその後の夫婦生活はずっとずっと長いの。だから一時の感情に任せず慎重に相手を探すべきなの。
No, I totally approve that.
そしてそれは人生経験の未熟なあなたよりお母さんたちの方がうまくやれるとは思わない？
それはそうかもしれないけど。
あなたは私の自慢の一人息子よ。どこへ出しても恥ずかしくないくらい立派に成長してくれたわ。バトラ君は籍を抜け、あなたが今やお父様の血を引く唯一の男孫。
Yeah, I agree with that.
あなたにふさわしい相手は慎重に選ばなくてはならない。
I don't fully reject Eva's perspective on this, but I know it is infused with self-interest there. She's doing it because she knows it will be also better for her. And I also feel George's side, because you do need to also have like something with the person that you're marrying. It can't be just, oh, we don't know, we're just gonna build it after we get married. What if you're completely incompatible? What if your married life is just gonna be a constant chore and struggle because you're not really vibing together? That's also a very legitimate worry, right? So somewhere in between, there must be a middle ground. As everyone related to the Ushiromiya family knew, Eva adored George so much that he was the apple of her eye. But that didn't mean she had pampered him. She had raised him strictly, and he had grown into a charming man who wouldn't betray her expectations. There it is. That infused layer of, you're my son, you're the apple of my eye, I love you so much, you gotta be exactly what I want you to be. We're going a little bit, you know. Oh no, I absolutely agree with that. That's what I've been saying. I totally agree with that, and I totally agree that in the beginning, when you get in, like, we get with someone, you don't have a mature connection instantly. It's something that you build, of course. And the fact that you decide to go in that direction with someone may have some, you know, chemistry, some sparks flying in the beginning, and those cannot be the foundation of your relationship. The foundation gets built in time with what you're saying and what Eva is saying, but there's also a nugget of truth to George's position as well, because you cannot, like we have the saying in Romanian, you cannot get out of a dry stone. If there's nothing there, and there will never be there anything, to try to force it would only make you miserable. So yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Okay, so Zekto agrees. Yeah, that part is also not I am not in agreement with. That's how he was the apple of her eye.
あなたの相手は決して母さんたちの損得で決めてなんかいないわ。 あなたにふさわしい、本当に素晴らしい女性に、母さんが合わせてあげる。
Right for you and right for them.
今はあなたの中にある青臭い若さが、それを疎むかもしれない。でも、これだけは母さんの言うことを聞きなさい。私があなたのためを思わなかったことが一度でもある？
それは、ないけど。
今はそれで結構よ。
That is true. They are really well developed. That's the part of the story that I've been enjoying quite a lot so far. Is untangling all of these nuances and layers that each character has, and there's still a lot to discover there. So.
さあ、行きましょう。お父様を待たせてるわよ。急いで屋敷に行きなさい。
じゃあ、ごめんね、二人とも。また、後で。
George bowed to the two of them, and after bowing once more to Shannon, he dashed off to the mansion.
じゃあ、おばさんも行くわね。楽しい話を打ち切っちゃってごめんね、ジェシカちゃん。シャノンちゃん。
いえ気にしないでください。じゃあシャノン、私たちは行こうぜ。
はい。
大丈夫よ。ジェシカちゃんだってきっとそのうち素敵な出会いがあるわよ。ジェシカちゃんにふさわしい素敵な方がね。
私と同程度ってことは成績の悪い男かな。なんだかうぜえぜ。
もちろんシャノンちゃんにもね、あなたにふさわしい素敵な男性がきっと現れるわよ。
はい、ありがとうございます。
As Eva giggled and smiled, she approached Shannon's ear with the hand over her mouth, as though she was trying to tell her a secret. Oh no, here it is. There's the venom under the honey.
使用人風情のあなたにぴったりの相手が
There it is.
き
Fuck.
っと見つかるわよ。義務教育に行かせてもらった恩も忘れて。身の程を知りなさい。
そんなつもりは、私。
ジョージはお父様の血を引く孫の中では嫡男に当たるのよ。ひょっとしたら未来の後ろ宮家を背負うことになるかもしれない人。
My son fell in love and I took that personally, yeah,
その期
definitely.
待に応えるためにたくさんの勉強を重ねて素晴らしい大学に入り、素晴らしい成績を残しているわ。そんなジョージと無能無資格無教養な使用人風情が釣り合うと本気でお思い？
So was she just being nice to save face in front of her own son? Does she always do that? Does he not know his mom? No, I feel like he did though in the first episode. Okay. Those malicious words all poured into Shannon's ear without spilling a drop. To Shannon, it was like cold water was being poured in there.
私は、そんなつもりは。
This was all whispered in secret, and with the same smile as before. Jessica, who could only see Eva's expression, didn't think it was anything other than Eva telling Shannon some embarrassing story about love. When their secret conversation ended, Eva patted Shannon's shoulders as though to underscore her message.
大丈夫よ。あなたにぴったりのお相手がきっと見つかるから。
Yeah. I guess it's true when they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And helicopter parents also fuck up their kids, also from a place of love. Initially.
じゃあね、ジェシカちゃん。また後でね。
はい、また後で。秀吉おじさんとの話、その時聞かせてくださいね。
いやよ。
Maybe there isn't even much to say. Maybe their marriage was just arranged and that was that. There's nothing fun or romantic there. But they did grow, like, from what we saw in the first episode, it does seem that indeed they grew to a place where they actually loved each other. So at least that part is true, but... Ugh. Eva left dryly and headed back to the entrance hall. Behind Jessica, who was cheerfully waving her hand, Shannon reflected very, very deeply on those words of Eva's about knowing her place. Yes, that's what I'm referencing. That was very tender. But maybe in the beginning there just was nothing, and that's just something that grew over time, as she's describing. I felt deep remorse for my brief moment of conceit. I had forgotten. I am furniture. Furniture isn't human. So I am a being who must feel gratitude for even being treated like a human. And I am not permitted to wish for anything more. Even if people develop affection for furniture that they're used to using, that is an emotion on the human side, and the furniture has no right to hope for that. They should just serve with simple honesty every day. But that feeling I felt when talking with George-sama and Jessica-sama is a forbidden drug for me. In other words, it may have been an emotion I must not know.
Shannon, 先ほどからぼんやりが過ぎます。体調でも悪いのですか？
いえ、失礼いたしました。
Natsuhi's words, too distracted, were right on the mark. Even Shannon couldn't believe that she hadn't noticed Natsuhi until she had been called. This was supposed to be the time when she had to concentrate on the cleaning. But she had just kept sighing and hadn't accomplished anything.
たとえお客様がおられなくても、常に気を張っていなくてはなりません。そんな様では、後ろ宮家に仕える使用人として情けありませんよ。
はい。以後注意します。
もうじき、当主様と主人がお帰りになられます。書斎の清掃は済んでいますか？階段の清掃は済んでいますか？
申し訳ございません。まだです。
ええ、知っています。ですから、ルノンにやらせておきました。あなたがもたもたと廊下を清掃している時間で、彼女は書斎と階段の清掃を済ませてしまいましたよ。
それは、丁寧にお掃除をしていたから、時間がかかってしまって。
Shannon was simple and honest, so she would always carry out her tasks seriously and properly without any omissions. So she was always slow with her work. In contrast, Lunon skillfully cut corners wherever they should be cut. So she could complete her jobs with a result that looked similar to an outsider, but in a much shorter time. In other words, she was shrewd. Compared to her, we should say that Shannon, who had just talked back to Natsuhi when she was already in a bad mood, was not shrewd in the slightest. I was about to say, I think Natsuhi is not gonna take that very nicely. Being Shannon is suffering, yeah. From my work experience, Lunon's is the way. I'm more like Shannon. I'm still hanging in there. Of course, there was nothing that Natsuhi couldn't stand more than a servant talking back. Her forehead creased and she spoke sternly. And yet her speech was slow and admonishing, which was terrifying beyond measure, and finally made Shannon realize she had said the wrong thing.
ならば、存分に丁寧な清掃を心がけなさい。シャノン、あなたにこのまま大広間の清掃も命じます。当主様の大切な絵画が多数飾られ、後ろ宮家への賓客をお招きすることもある大切な広間です。埃一つ残さないよう、あなたが納得するまで丁寧に清掃なさい。もちろん今日中にです。それを終えて私に報告するまで、食事も休憩も許しません。わかりましたね。
はい、奥様。
結構。
Natsuhi is working diligently on making herself unlikable.
使用人はその言葉だけを口にするように。次の口答えには、より厳しい罰を与えますから、そのつもりで。よく胸に刻んでおきなさい。
I mean, I guess she's doing her best to keep the household in check because she's carrying a lot of weight on her shoulders and she is not being appreciated for it either. Learning the corners that can be cut is the most important part. Yes, and being aware that you can only cut the same corner like once or twice before things go bad is also something important. If you keep making a habit out of cutting corners, that's gonna show. It's gonna show.
はい、奥様。ご指導をありがとうございます。
どういたしまして。
Natsuki headed off down the corridor, making a gesture as if her headache was troubling her. When Shannon couldn't see her anymore, she hung her head and sighed. This happened because I let my thoughts take me. I might be bad at everything I do, but I should at least be able to carry out the cleaning as well as an average person can, right? I can't even do that properly. It's so pathetic it makes me cry. You know, the one thing that I find quite confusing and, I don't know, a little bit immersion killing in this novel so far, it's written great, beautiful, a lot of depth to the characters and everything. But this switch between first and third person narration is driving me freaking insane. Like, can we stick to one, please? It did the same when, in first episode, when the narrator should have been Battler, but then we had so many moments in third person, but then we would keep coming back to Battler, but then we were back in third person, and I'm like, oh my god, okay. I don't know why, it's just messing with my head a little bit. Right. And there's something even more pathetic. Oh, sorry. That's not what I meant to press. There we go. Not only was I unable to perform a single bit of cleaning well, but just now, when Natsuhi was scolding me, I was envisioning him appearing and rescuing me. Oh, Shannon, I wanna hug her, can I? The author is very loose with that. Oh, man. How am I even supposed to comment on that? Oh god, what did I say? Fuck, what did I do? Poof. If we're talking gardening, you cut different corners every time to not let any particular ones to get too far out of hand. Okay, yeah, I can see the comparison there. I'm just saying, just generally, if you get used to skipping something and you keep skipping and skipping and skipping, something like sometimes it might be okay to skip it. Sometimes it might be irrelevant, but there are moments where sometimes it might be irrelevant, but there are moments where it might be relevant, and the fact that you've kept skipping it would derail things and make it painfully obvious. And it's usually like an avalanche effect when that happens. Like, everything is fine until the first piece falls, and then it snowballs, and then it's crazy. And that is my experience. So I am generally trying to find this like balance in between things, because I like to do things properly every single time, and I can understand that sometimes some of the things are not really needed. So I think discerning when a corner is needed or it can be cut is very important, but not going in either extreme is also important. Rikishi is not an especially technical writer. It wasn't as noticeable in Higurashi, where almost everything was first person, but it's noticeable here, yeah. So far, any work I tried is half learning what to do and half is what not to do. That is true. That is true. Balance. The truth is, or like the right pathway is always somewhere in the middle. It's never at an extreme or another. Ay, 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 Shannon. If only George-sama had been here. Perhaps he would have casually stepped in and saved me. I'm sure he would show up cheerfully, intentionally acting like he doesn't know what's going on, nimbly change the subject and make me forget I was ever reprimanded by Natsuhi. I kept envisioning him, suddenly appearing from the other side of the door, the other end of the hallway. I envisioned the kind of person that would be an appropriate partner for him in a marriage meeting, and I envisioned how unfitting I am for him. Eva had told me that clearly. It had repeated endlessly through my dreams.
姉さんは相変わらず不器用だね。奥様は今朝から虫の居所が悪い。黙ってうなずいていればいいものを。余計なことを言うから。
カノン君。
Canon was suddenly there. His footsteps were always quieter than a cat's, and he left no trace of his presence. She probably wouldn't have noticed him no matter how long he stood there. The expression on Kanon's face was hatred. That expression he was making, he surely made for Shannon, who didn't know what to do so herself. Who didn't know how to do so herself. Ah, I see what I mean. He was making it on her behalf. For a moment I read it as he was angry towards, or like hateful towards her. And wait, why would you be hateful towards Shannon? What's happening? But now I get it.
奥様も、そしてルノンも地獄へ落ちろ。
Oh wow, okay. Canon, go.
あいつは奥様がどこをチェックするか知ってて、そこしか掃除しない。さっきの掃除もそうだった。見ていたから知ってる。本当の意味での掃除なんかしてないんだよ。丁寧に掃除する姉さんに寄生してるだけの最低なやつだ。
そんな汚い言
I already
葉
don't
を使
like
っては
I
ダメ
already
よ。
don't like this Lunon much at all.
汚い言葉はカノン君の綺麗な魂まで汚してしまう。だからせめて私の前ではそんな言葉遣いをしないでね。
Oh, I love their relationship. It's so cute. Canon faced away, acting sulky. It was a dishonest reaction, very like Canon-kun. But I was a little happy. He got angry in my place.
大広間の掃除は大変だよ。僕も手伝う。
ありがとう。でも奥様に命じられたのは私だから大丈夫。カノン君にも自分のお仕事があるんでしょ。
汚らわしい仕事だよ。僕の魂なんてとっくに汚れてる。
Canon then hung his head and bit his lower
手伝っ
lip.
てくれるという言葉だけで私は十分。カノン君も自分の仕事に戻らないとあなたまで罰を受けることになっちゃう。そしたら私は悲しい。
Shannon knew Canon's character well. Sometimes he didn't reflect on himself. If I don't refuse forcefully, he will help me even if it means neglecting his own job. Canon was a little sad that his favor had been rejected, but he realized that in the end, going too far would also cause her pain, and he gave a single small sigh.
わかったよ。姉さんも頑張って。
それに私にも責任はあるから。
姉さんには責任なんて何もないよ。
あるの。だからもう言って。
Canonkun's face showed that he still hadn't completely accepted it, but he stopped being persistent and disappeared. Even though Canonkun had given me words of comfort when I was down, even so I was still dejected because it hadn't been him. Oh, my heart. I totally know what she means. Oh, good God, it takes me back. Oh. That was simply a sin, far beyond any dream the likes of me could be permitted to see. Know your place. Shannon, who had neglected breakfast, was already starting to feel her thoughts attenuate. There it is again, third person. Why? We were just like literally 2 sentences before we were in first person. It's so... I don't know, it's confusing a little bit. It takes me out and, I don't know, switches something in my mind constantly. But if she didn't finish cleaning the reception hall, she couldn't receive Natsuhi's permission to eat. That cruel Natsuhi had surely told the kitchen of that. I have to respectfully receive Madam's punishment. That's right. My position in the world is furniture, and I had been intoxicated by a dream that is beyond me. I finished cleaning the hallway and went to the reception hall. Yeah, Shannon needs the pets a lot more, although I do appreciate them as well. Maybe hunger makes a nose more sensitive. The kitchen was far away, but somehow I could smell the delicious aroma wafting from there, stimulating my empty stomach all the more. Bad likes it. Okay. Until I finished up here, I could not get any soup. I just had to prepare myself. Several portraits were hung in the reception hall. One of those portraits was thought amongst the servants to hold a special meaning. It was the portrait of the witch. That wasn't its true name, but everyone in the mansion called it that. The name of the woman with elegant blonde hair drawn as the subject of that portrait was Beatrice. It was whispered that she might be the former mistress of the family head Kinzo, and also that she was the great witch who had given Kinzo his legendary gold. The witch Beatrice, master of the night on Rokkenjima. She was gracious to those who respected her, but she would always curse those who made light of her. We like Umineko, so we're inclined to see every of its quirks in a positive light. No, I totally can accept that someone can enjoy this. I just feel like somehow it makes something in my brain has to switch from one position to another in order to accommodate this shift in person, in the perspective. So I find it a little bit tiring when it keeps going off and on. But that's just me. What I say doesn't have to apply to everybody. Oh, alright, I see. Wait, did I read the thing above? Wait, sorry. It was in Shannon's character not to neglect rules and beliefs such as those. Okay. So she thought of the portrait of her other master as that person herself, and always treated it carefully, treasuring it. And it had become part of her daily routine to talk, inside her own head, to the witch who only existed inside the portrait. Oh, that's interesting. She was furniture. Furniture doesn't complain. Cannot complain. So she had no right to speak her mind about her difficult days. No right to open her mouth and say those words. So she at least spoke her mind inside her heart. Those words she couldn't say aloud, she spoke inside her heart, and prostrated to the formless witch. Rikishi is generally not well regarded in Japan, which is especially interesting when he is very well liked in the West. Right. From a more objective POV, the writing on a page-by-page level is not great. Sometimes it's just bad. Yeah, I guess it's hard to. There's just so much of it that obviously not every single sentence will be up to par, and it's normal, and it's also a little bit what's the word, calming in a way, because not every sentence has to be like this deep thing with a bunch of layers to it. Sometimes it can just be whatever it is on the surface level. It doesn't have to be that deep, it doesn't have to be that profound, or use this like incredibly witty and clever word choice, right? So some parts can be a little bit more lacking in substance, just to kind of like balance things out. That is fine. I don't particularly mind that. I think overall the way the story has been presented, and the way the characters have been introduced, and the development that we have seen thus far from the characters, and like their reaction in various moments, I think it's quite brilliantly done. So I respect the work. Yeah, that's also definitely something that probably gets lost in translation and we cannot perceive it. We are kind of forced to see things through the perspective of whoever translated it, and which is maybe my gut feeling, there were probably more people translating it and then putting their work together. And so if there's like a very noticeable shift or switch here and there, maybe that is also a thing. Yeah. Framework, characterization, and themes. There you go. You're saying it so much better than I am. Thank you. Yep. Of course the witch didn't answer. She never consoled, and she never laughed it off. Shannon could only interpret that silence as she liked, as though the witch was at least listening attentively.
ベアトリーチェ様、みすぼらしい私の話を聞いてください。
Oh, my heart is breaking. Oh. As Shannon wiped the dust from the witch's portrait, she spoke inside her heart.
私は確かに、エヴァ様の言う通り、無能で無教養な家具です。人じゃない。だから、恋をする資格などないかもしれません。でも、だったら、どうして恋を知ることのできる心など、お与えになったのでしょうか。
Shannon paused there and held back her tears for a time. The sound of the rain, which had started falling along with the chill air in the reception hall, made her feel as though her shabbiness had increased another level.
本当の家具なら、心なんかない。だから、人を愛したりしなくて済むじゃないですか。だから苦しまない。私も同じ家具なのに。どうして心なんかあるんですか？
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
こ
God.
んな苦しくて辛い思いをするなら、こんな心なんて与えないでほしかった。
なるほど。家具に心を与えたか。あれも時には愉快なことをする。
The witch, who never answered or laughed, answered and laughed. My imagination? Hearing things? No. After all, the next words became a voice, and I could hear them, not with my heart, but with my ears.
人間は世界を構成する元素について紀元前の昔から探求を続けてきた。古代ギリシャ人たちは風、火、水、土の4つで世界の説明を試みたという。その後も数千年かけて人間たちはその4つに様々な元素を加え、5代、6代、7代、8代、12代と様々な解釈で世界を説明しようとしたが、唯一の真実である一なる元素を説明することはできなかった。しかし、星の導きによって現れた一人の男が、ついにこの世界を構成する一なる元素を説明した。何かわかるか？
What is it, love?
誰？
Shannon fearfully turned around. How is it suddenly raining? Wasn't this like a really sunny, very clear day? Everything was nice and shiny in the garden. Now it's suddenly raining and thunderstorming and stuff. Beatrice just popping by. Yeah. Magic! Woof! Right there, she existed. Bible references. Oh, I'm not that versed into the Bible, so I don't know if I recognize them. Did you hope for another Beatrice free episode like episode 1 had been? Big nope. Oh no, I was actually hoping that she fucking appears this time because I do want to see more of her. Yes, please. I felt like the first one, I mean, I understand it was the setup of everything and like she had no business being there. She was this like whole mystery, but now that she has been introduced, I want to see her. Don't take her away, please. Beatrice comes, claims love is the single element of the world, refuses to elaborate, leaves. Giga Chan Witch, yes. She hasn't claimed it yet, that was just my guess. Let's see. Not as an illusion, in reality. The contrast made by the lightning made it clear that this was not just a daydream. Yeah, but why is it raining suddenly? There it is, it's love, I was right, okay. Destroys the entire institution of chemistry? Yes. What Beatrice just said is an implicit reference to the appearance of Jesus Christ, the man who explained the single element that makes up the world. Ah, okay. The witch of the portrait elegantly held the golden pipe to her mouth and giggled. She laughed at the ignorance which caused mankind's thoughts to stray far from the most simple answer.
その男は世界のすべてを愛で説明した。それこそが一なる元素。
I might like that. Let's see where this is going.
男は最小の数で世界の構成を説明しきったのだ。
I enjoy the voice acting. Can't go back to versions without it. Wait, there's versions without voice acting? Why? It's so good.
なんとも単純明快にして豪快爽快愉快痛快。やがてその男の生まれた年は西暦紀元と呼ばれるようになったがな。
Wow. So, what did it have? Just background music and character sprites popping in and out, and you just had to read everything in silence? Oh, wow. Okay. I was not aware. That's... Oh, wow. How did it happen that they decided, oh, let's invest a bunch of funds into some really cool voice actors? Was it because it was like kind of liked and it was kind of like, you know, blowing up and then they did that? Just music and bed drawings made by the author himself. Ooh, I see. Huh. I have gained another level of respect for this man. Okay. Very cool. And also for the whole novel itself having such humble origins. Alright. Ah, okay. So she's actually referring to Jesus Christ. Gotcha. Shannon lost any words to speak. She thought that when first meeting an unknown guest, her first words should ask that person's name. But without saying anything, Shannon knew this person's name, so she refrained. No, surely. As a person of this island, asking this person for her name would be the greatest disrespect. Oh no worry, Bea, it's fine. It's fine. I just... Since you have insisted that I keep myself away from any Umineko information, I'm keeping myself away from any Umineko information. I know what you post in the Discord, and I know what I read here. That's all I have, so I had no idea. Another company their own port and redrew the background sprites and recorded voice acting. Wow. Wow. Nice. I have gained another layer of appreciation for also what we're able to experience now, right now, so yes. Thank you to all the people who worked on that. Because she was the other master of this island in addition to Kinzo.
ベアトリーチェ様。
いかにもわらわがベアトリーチェである。1000年を経ても人がわらわを見て最初に浮かべる表情は変わらんな。
Oh my heart. He literally handed out CDs with the first episode himself at a tiny stand during concert. Wow. That's so cool. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, photos. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Like, it was probably the lowest effort way to get them. Like, yeah. Wow, okay. I see. I understand now why I was told to do this, not directly the Steam version, which I own, by the way. I owned it. I paid my dues. But, yeah, okay, cool. Cool. The original is quite nostalgic for that reason, but yeah, the remake is just an improvement and he endorsed it quite a bit. Very nice. He was inspired by Tsukihime. Okay. Very nice tidbits of information there, guys. Thank you so much. I had no idea. Now I know so much more. The witch giggled at how Shannon's reaction didn't betray her expectations. Shannon realized that she had met with a being that mustn't be met with, and she took a step backwards. That's where the wall and the portrait were, so even as she gazed at the witch, she supported the witch's portrait on her back.
お前の悩みは愛ゆえよ。それはすなわち世界の一なる元素。つまりこの世のすべてだ。それが満たされぬということは世界が満たされぬに同じこと。それは穴の開いた水筒に水を汲み続けるのに似ている。くめどもくめども満たされぬ永遠の心の砂漠。人間の基礎にして全てにして現在。わかるか？
Yeah, let me share a link for everyone who might want to join the Discord. Alright, let's see. There we go. I mean, knock yourself out. I'm not against it. I might take a while to get back to you on that, though.
知識の実を口にしたアダムとイブが知ったのは愛だったのだ。それを知ったがゆえに人は楽園を追われ人足り得たのだ。
I quite like this pose of Beaz. I don't know why, she's like a little bit pensive, very cute. I like this one.
すなわちそれは愛を知り苦しむからこそ人であること。心優しき娘よ、そなたは誇っていい。それを知った今、そなたはもはや家具にあらず。そなたは今こそ人間なのだ。我が名にかけてそれを認めようぞ。凡庸の身には理解もつらき話か。まあよいわ。許すがいい。久しぶりに人間と話すのでな。饒舌が過ぎたことを謝ろう。
Without expecting a reply from Shannon, Beatrice laughed pleasantly for a while.
詫びと言ってはなんだが、わらわの力でそなたのその願望を叶えてやってもよいぞ。
The meaning of those words surprised Shannon even more than the witch's sudden appearance.
そなたを思い人と添い遂げさせてやってもよいと言っている。本来ならばそれに見合うだけの対価を要求するところだがわらわは機嫌が良い。それにそなたはわらわへの礼を欠かさず今日それへの褒美としてやってもよい。
本当ですか？
Normally, Shannon would have been shocked by this guest who lacked realism. I wouldn't have been able to speak. However, as though she had already been caught in the witch's trap, Shannon responded to the witch.
わらわの魔法にかかれば思い人と結ばれるように取り計らうなど造作もない。
You do mean it, don't you? Those words almost escaped Shannon's lips, but she held herself back. Oh, sorry, I pressed the button too fast. She held herself back with her final reserves of reason. A witch is a witch. A sinister being. The witch Beatrice is clearly trying to slip in through the cracks in my heart and make me prisoner. The sort of temptation which so many fairy tale picture books had warned me about when I was young was right in front of me now.
イフもまた 敬いの一つよ。心地よくはあるが、これでは拉致があかぬな。わらわは確かに、そなたらが意味嫌う魔女像から離れはせぬ。だが、わらわは敬う者には好意を返す。それは人間も同じであろう。そのように身構えられて好意を返せる人間も、またおらぬと思うがな。
失礼しました。そんなつもりは。
Shannon finally realized that her hostility was rude to this guest, and she finally digested the words that had been spoken to her a short while ago. You are no longer furniture. Now you are human. The more she reflected upon those words, the more Shannon felt as though Beatrice could understand all of her suffering.
さっきの、その、褒美の話って何ですか？
お前が、その心を虜にする男と結ばれるように取り計らってもいいと言っている。
I mean, this is nice and all, but I would hope that Shannon says no, because,
わらわの肖像画を日々丹念に磨いてくれたことへの礼とでも思うがよい。安心せよ。対価は求めぬ。わらわは気前がよい。だがな、対価は求めぬが、頼みがある。
Look, here it comes. The other Shannon inside her heart sent her a warning. This is what she had been so often warned of in all those scary picture books she had read when she was
こ
little.
の島のすぐ近くの海に岩が覗き、そこに
Oh,
小さな鳥居と祠が設けてあるのを知っているか？
Oh no. Shannon immediately remembered it. When you reached Rokinjima by boat, there was a torii and a shrine on a reef which was too small to even be called an islet. This is what she did in the beginning of this episode, right? Oh my god. She had the feeling that Kumasawa had told her its story, but she couldn't remember that very well. A traveling mountaineering ascetic or someone had built it or prayed at it or something.
ええ、知っていますが、それが何か？
魔に通じぬものに一から説明はせぬ。早い話がだな。あれには参っておるのだ。
I like how the events are told out of order. Yeah, that's fine. That can work very, very well when you finally connect them together. It has a little more oomph and
実は
weight.
な、あの祠の中にある鏡が収められている。それをそなたに割ってほしいというのだ。
That was a very suspicious request. Shannon didn't know its history, but anything that might be stored inside the shrine would have to be something sacred. And she wants me to break it. Why would someone as powerful as a witch be unable to do that herself and be asking a human for help? There it is. It switched again to first person. Why? There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice started talking about this reasonable question before Shannon could give her answer. Maybe it's also very different in Japanese. Because Japanese has a different way of approaching this, and it can be a lot more vague and allow for a smoother like transition back and forth, whereas in English it's kind of jarring at least to me. But okay, I will start commenting on it. It's my last comment. It keeps happening. It's fine. We'll deal with it. It's even more specific in Japanese. Okay. Okay. Then I don't know.
あの鏡の魔力は、わらわの魔力と相対する。人の言葉でうまく説明できぬな。例えれば、食器の違いとでも言おうか。あの鏡はフォークで、わらわの力はスープなのだ。フォークでスープは飲めまい？あの鏡の押し付けさえなければ、わらわはスープを飲むのにぴったりのスプーンが用意できるというわけだ。
This is somehow making me think of Steins Gate with my fork and my spoon. It has nothing to do with it, but...
スープも飲めるし、岩楼だって掘り抜けるぞ。目玉だってえぐり貫ける。だったか？
That got gruesome really fast.
何の話かわかりません。私の無教養のせいだとしたら謝ります。
こういうことだ。あの忌々しい鏡をわらわのために割る手間をかけてくれたなら、その褒美として、そなたの願いを叶えてやるということだ。今日のわらわは本当に機嫌がいい。
That would be quite the crossover.
そなたが望むなら、願い事を変えて、金蔵に授けた黄金を丸ごとくれてやることにしてもよいぞ。
お断りします。
なんと。
When she heard Shannon's words, Betty realized for the first time that her expectations had been betrayed.
理由があれば聞かせよ。誤解があるなら解こうぞ。
理由なんてよくわかりません。でも今日までこの島は平和で何も起こりませんでした。なら鏡を割らなくても今日までと同じ平和がこれからも続いていくはずです。
なるほどなるほど。それはもっともだな。そなたの言う通りだ。あれを割らぬなら、割れぬ今日までと同じ日々が、明日も明後日も続こうぞ。わらわが絶対の保証をしようではないか。ベアトリーチェの名にかけて言う。割れぬ今日までと同じ日々が、明日も明後日も続こうぞ。
That sounds more like a threat for some reason. Yes, that is also true. She is all powerful.
それは永久に。
Shannon was seized by an eerie illusion. The mirror was most likely something to restrain the witch. So breaking the mirror should have been something done for the witch's sake. And yet it felt as though Shannon had to do it for her own sake. It felt like some premise had been switched.
わらわはあくまでも褒美としてそなたに思いを成就する機会を与えたに過ぎぬ。割ろうが割るまいがそなたの自由だ。割ればわらわはそなたの願いを叶える。割らねば今日までの明日が永遠に続く。そなたの願いは永遠に叶うことはない。わかるか？何を言っているか。
Oh my gosh. The witch was telling her. She was pressing her, saying to break the mirror if she wanted to be joined with George. And she was declaring that if she didn't break it, then her feelings would definitely never be fulfilled. Oh, my heart.
やめてください。そんなの聞きたくない。
そなたを苦しめたかったわけではないのだがな。まあいい。愛に苦しさを感じるも人間の醍醐味よ。その感情を存分に楽しむがよい。だが、我が力を借りたいと願ったなら、いつでもあの鏡を割るがよい。そして、我が名を叫び、呼び覚ますがよい。わらわは必ず約束を守るだろう。これならば文句はあるまい？そなたに今すぐの決断を迫るわけではない。気楽であろう？
Was this deal ultimately something she could feel at ease with? Definitely not. To Shannon, who was burning with love, tormented by passion, being tempted forever by a way of escape was far too cruel a trial.
この約束に期限は設けぬが、願いを叶える魔法には期限がある。その期限は、わらわが決めるのではない。そなたの思い人が自ら決める。意味がわかるか？
わかりません。
No, not at all. Definitely not shady.
そなたの思い人が、愛のちぎりを結ぶべき相手を決めた時が、その期限となる。わらは互いを愛し合う二人を引き裂く魔法は持ち合わせていないのでな。そなたの思い人は近いうちに見合いに臨むそうだな。そなたは世界で一番その男のことを思っているかもしれん。
I trust fancy ladies with pipes. Alright.
だが、世界で一番ふさわしいとは限らんぞ。わらわは見合いの相手を知っている。その娘は世界で一番後宮ジョージにふさわしい。
What does that even mean?
良い学校を出て良い成績を残し、落ち着きがあって思慮深い。お前より美しく、お前より聡明で、お前よりふさわしい。お前のような無知無能無教養の娘がどうしてふさわしかろうか。お前が一番知っている。お前が一番ふさわしくない。お前と後宮ジョージが結ばれるなど想像するだけでも罪深い。愚かしいことよ。愚かしい愚かしい身の程知れい。義務教育に行かせてもらった恩も忘れて身の程を知りなさい。
I was about to say she's starting to sound exactly like Eva and I don't like that.
ジョージはお父様の血を引く孫の中では着眼に当たるのよ。ひょっとしたら未来の後宮家を背負うことになるかもしれない人。その期待に応えるためにたくさんの勉強を重ねて素晴らしい大学に入り素晴らしい成績を残しているわ。そんなジョージと無能無資格無教養な使用人風情が釣り合うと本気でお思い？
That's quite some laughter there.
やめろ！シャノンをいじめるな！貴様は誰だ！
At that time, as Shannon held her head, tried to protect her heart from the blade of Beatrice's words, Canon ran in front of her. Oh, thank you, Blurred Neko. It's alright. I think I'm standing quite straight, and I have my tea. Appreciate it. No bully, Shannon. No. She's laughing. This is a happy moment. Yeah, for sure. Canon didn't care who this woman was, as long as he knew she was an enemy tormenting Shannon, who he loved and respected as a sister. Nothing else mattered.
カノン君、下がって。この方は。
It seemed that Canon also realized that the being standing before him was the witch of the portrait, and also that she was a terrifying being.
シャノンに褒美を取らせたかっただけだが、わらわの言葉が過ぎ、いじめてしまったようだな。それは謝ろう。だが、先ほどの約束は、そなたへの褒美として残してゆく。わらわの力が必要ならば、いつでも呼び出すといい。その方法はすでに教えた。では、これにて今宵は退散しよう。敵意の眼差しは心地よくあるが、美容にはちと悪いのでな。
貴
ケロ、お前が何者か知らないが、お前はシャノンを脅かしている。二度と現れるな。
It seemed that Canon's words made the witch horribly displeased.
言葉を選ばぬか下船め。わらわは敬う者に寛大だが、敬わぬ者には残酷であるぞ。
While she still smiled, the witch's expression began to warp, and an oppressive feeling that couldn't be described with any of the five senses gradually filled the room. Even though they couldn't comprehend what it was, they immediately realized it to be something terrifying. If you were swimming in the ocean and something large went by in the water beneath you, you would want to escape to the land even before you learned what it was. This was the same as that.
おやめください、ベアトリーチェ様。カノン君はまだ子供なんです。言葉遣いについては謝ります。
Canon blocked the way to Shannon at the risk of his life. There was tense sweat on his forehead. In that moment, the witch certainly had Canon's fate in her clutches. She didn't even need to move a finger. She had Canon's fate so readily in her grasp that she could crush it completely with a single twist of her own smile. Canon also understood that, which is why he was sweating, and his knees felt weak. However, Beatrice abruptly released that feeling of tension and laughed.
よかろう。そなたが求めるなら特別に許そう。カノンとやら彼女に免じて今宵は許して使わす。感謝するがよいぞ。さて今宵はこれで退散する。別れの挨拶に一つ土産を残そう。二人とも左手の手のひらをこちらへかざせ。
Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers, whereupon their left hands stretched out in front of them and their palms opened against their will. It was a strange sensation, as though only their left hands had become someone else's. It felt like their left hands alone had become puppets, pulled by strings hanging down from the ceiling.
これは何の真似だ。
Canon resisted, but he couldn't take back the freedom of his left hand.
騒ぐな。すぐに済む。
Oh my god. Beatrice held her pipe aloft, and from inside the smoke, gold-colored sparkling dust hovered in the air. That glitter eventually became several gold butterflies. The beautiful butterflies danced freely throughout the reception hall, creating a fantastical and beautiful world. And two of those butterflies alighted on the palms of Shannon's and Canon's hands. There was a sharp pain, as though they had been burned. When the two of them tried to examine their palms, there was no trace left of that inability to move their bodies, which had been there until a second ago.
あざ、これは。
On the palm of her hand, a small burn mark had been made the size of a pea. Furthermore, it was shaped like a butterfly.
これは何の真似だ。
Apparently, Canon had the same bruise on his hand. He stared at the witch hatefully.
単なる挨拶よ。他はない。ただのあざに過ぎぬからほんの数日で言えよう。手当ても必要ない。それはわらわが確かに今日ここにあり、そなたと約束を交わしたことを明日に忘れさせぬための印だ。わらわとの出会いは刺激が強い。翌朝にわらわとの出会いを夢か幻と思い込み忘れようとする人間も時にはいるのでな。ゆっくり考えるがいいぞ、シャノン。そしてゆっくりと休み、明日の朝日に我が印を見て改めて考えてみるがいいだろう。わらわは何も強要せぬ。そなたが自らの意志で自由に未来を決めるがいい。もっとも欲する者の対価がその程度で済むとはな。貴殿をテーマに戯曲を書き上げた偉人たちが悔しがるぞ。それでは 縁があったらまた会おう。久しぶりの会話は実に楽しかったぞ。さらばだ、家具ども。
Beatrice's body crumbled like smoke and blew away. It was golden smoke. No, a flight of golden butterflies. They scattered in all directions inside the reception hall, leaving a golden mist behind as they disappeared into thin air. After that, only the cold silence was left. The extreme silence was enough to make both of them think that they might have been daydreaming until just a moment ago, which is why the witch had left it. She had left a mark to make it impossible for them to think that this was a daydream. As Shannon and Canon thought back on the butterfly bruises on their hands, and the pain they had felt when those had been left, they stood there for some time, stunned and motionless. And from that day on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict. What's happening?
別部屋ってなんだよ。じゃあ、わざわざシャノンとジョージ兄さんは別の部屋に泊まったのかよ。
はい。そんなにもおかしかったでしょうか。
Since Jessica's cheeks had been stuffed with chocolate-coated chinsuko biscuit that Shannon had brought as a souvenir from Okinawa, it all flew out at Shannon when Jessica cried out.
シャノンさ、何のために沖縄まで旅行に行ったんだよ。それもジョージ兄さんと二人っきりで。
それはとても大きな水族館が沖縄にあるから、ぜひ行こうって誘われて。
I'm having trouble now piecing together how this trip could have possibly happened, especially given the pushback from Eva and so on. Like, in what context was this ever possible?
私、お魚とか好きですし。
いや、だからさ、健全な男女がお泊まりありで旅行に行ったわけだろ。それでチューもなければギューもないのかよ。ましてや部屋は男女で別部屋ってなんだよ。
チューについてはノーコメントです。でもギューはありましたよ。ジョージさんの胸温かかったです。
そういうことじゃねえぜ。なあもう。
Yeah, I guess. It's just... There's just, I guess, something unspoken inside me who wouldn't have expected it to actually be possible for them to go, like, I don't want to say out in the open necessarily, but like, this is under which circumstances was Shannon capable of going so far away? I guess they organized it properly. I guess maybe Jessica helped, you know, things like that. Okay, interesting, interesting.
なんだってこんなカップルがいるんだよ。ああ、もうじれってーぜ。
From Shannon's perspective, a lot of things had happened and it seemed to have been a very happy trip. But it looked like the missed opportunity had left Jessica feeling greatly unfulfilled. George cut off his ankle monitor. I know she isn't a slave. I know that. They did mention something about her being paid quite okay, and her saving that money. So I guess she does have something in that direction. All right. I don't know, for some reason I need some more explanation as to how this could have worked, because I don't know, my mind unconsciously put some hurdles in the way of that becoming possible. But okay, we can skip that. It's just me. For a while, Jessica chewed on her souvenir, writhing on her bed as she complained about their romance. Shannon and George had chosen to go to Okinawa because there was a huge aquarium there. That was because their first meeting had revolved around an aquarium. Since they had started at an aquarium, having their first overnight trip also be to an aquarium must have held some commemorative value. They seem to be paid a lot. Okay. They said the servants can live comfortably on their own after just a few years of work. I don't know if I remember that last part, but I do remember. I think it was in the conversation that Shannon and George had together about her having saved quite a bit after serving in the house for what, 10 years was it? Yeah, that part I do remember. Jessica wants to gossip. I mean, I think she wants it to have happened in the first place, not necessarily to gossip about it. But yeah, that's like secondary.
そんな記念の節目の初のお泊まり旅行ならいろいろと進展するもんがあるはずだぜ。
Wouldn't that have been a little bit too fast?
それが
Too much too fast.
男女別部屋カップルでシングルを2部屋ああ、もう本当にどうかしてるぜ。
Jessica is just trying to play the Cupid, and it's clear that she is cheering on them, like she wants this to, you know, happen for them.
それはお互い独身の男女ですし、ジョージさんがそこをしっかりするのが男女のマナーだとおっしゃって。
だからそれを踏み越えるためのお泊まり旅行じゃねえのかよ。もはやキューとかギューとかのレベルじゃねえぜ。
お嬢様がどういう意味でおっしゃってるのかわかりませんが、ジョージ様は最後まで本当に紳士でいてくださいました。それは私もそういうことがあるかなというか。でも私たちお付き合いはしてますけど、別に結婚してるわけじゃないし、お嬢様が期待されているようなことはちゃんと神様の前で誓いを立ててからするべきです。するべきです。
Shannon's face was bright red. She was restlessly fidgeting, making a circle with both hands, then a chain link, continually intertwining, separating, and making heart shapes with them. Extremely pure Shannon moment, yes. Yes. Cute. Apparently the dramatic progress Jessica had looked forward to hadn't happened, but it seemed that it had been a very important experience for Shannon in her own way. Yeah, there it is. So in the end, no matter how much Jessica envied Shannon or made fun of her, it didn't change the fact that Shannon had a huge lead on her.
私も彼氏欲しい。シャノンに先を越されたのが悔しい。彼氏作るときは一緒だぜって約束したのに抜け駆けされ
た。お嬢様は素敵な方ですから、私なんかよりきっと素敵な方がすぐに現れます。
そういう慰めはいらねえぜ。シャノンの裏切り者、出ていけ。うぜ
Oh no, inhaler moment. Jessica threw several cushions at her, but midway she had an asthma attack and started to cough pretty badly. Shannon hurriedly ran over to her and took a look on top of the nearby side table. An adorable basket was placed there, and inside of it was Jessica's inhaler. Shannon picked it up and handed it over to Jessica. Jessica's asthma attacks always came suddenly. Because of this, she had to carry this medicine around with her at all times. She breathed in the medicine, and after some time spent holding back her coughing, her asthma finally settled down. Shannon thought this a good chance to leave, bowed courteously, and made to exit the room. As she did, one more small cushion came flying and hit Shannon on the head. Whoopsies. She looked around and saw that Jessica was on the verge of crying, half of her face buried in her last and favorite cushion. Aww. That face was red and meek.
お嬢様？
シャノンさ、正直に言って、私、髪型とか、 変かな。
まさか、お嬢様の髪はとてもお美しいと思います。
じゃあ、目とか変かな。鼻とか変じゃないかな。やっぱり、喋り方がダメなのかな。だから彼氏できないのかな。
そんなはずはありませんよ。お嬢様はそのままで十分に素敵です。そしてその魅力はこれからもっともっと増していくと思いますよ。
でも、私だけ彼氏できない。サクもヒナも彼氏できたのに、私にだけできないよ。やっぱり私には魅力ないからかな。みんなね、文化祭に彼氏連れてくるんだって。
Aww, I feel for her on a very personal level. I was her. Oh, that's so. I want to say sweet and cute in a way. But oh, girl, you don't have to tie your own value to having or not having a boyfriend. It doesn't work like that. I wish I could hug her. Oh.
私もその日までにはきっと彼氏いるって思って大見え切って。
I love that about Jessica. She seems so confident in other scenes, but when you get something like this, then you get something like this here. Yeah.
彼
Bless
氏だ
her.
ってできやしない。私だけ。私だけ。
Before she realized that Jessica was shedding huge tears. Jessica hadn't really planned on crying, and of course she felt like supporting Shannon's progress in love as a friend. However, as she had made fun of Shannon, her true feelings had suddenly gotten mixed in, and the tears had just poured out on their own. Shannon understood Jessica's innocent and easily injured heart. Jessica's usual rough style of speech was all just an attempt to protect her own easily injured heart. As a daughter and successor to the Ushiromiya family, and as a girl isolated on Rokkenjima, the only person she could expose her true feelings to was Shannon. Shannon understood that, so she strongly regretted feeling a little too self-satisfied.
ごめん。涙出ちゃうなんて。私変だぜ。ごめん。
お嬢様は素敵な方です。そんなお嬢様に素敵な男性が現れないわけがありません。
シャノン、もう時間だろ。早く行かないとまたゲンジさんや母さんに怒られるぜ。私は全然平気だから早く行きなよ。悪いな、泣いちゃったりなんかしてさ。バカみてえだぜ、私。
Jessica faced away as if to show she wasn't looking for attention, and waved her hand as though to drive Shannon away. Shannon took that as a sign that she didn't want to be badgered anymore, bowed her head, and left the room. When her footsteps disappeared into the distance, Jessica lay down on her bed, still hugging the cushion. Her expression was still a little meek, with tears in her eyes. But for the first time in a long time, she had a very, very quiet and honest conversation with her heart. Oh no. More heartbreaking coming. Aww. As Shannon watered the flower beds in the garden in high spirits, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking that if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. And what she saw was that witch. Ooh, again?
ベアトリーチェ様。
久しぶりよの。どうだ？その後、そなたの思い人との仲は順調か？
As Beatrice sat on the rose arch, she happily blew on her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses, and it might have been dangerous if you fell off the arch, but after all, this was a witch. This was surely an unnecessary concern.
はい、おかげさまで順調です。
当然よ。わらわの魔法はてきめんである。そなたにはまるで、二人が出会うのはあらかじめ決められた運命であったかのように感じているかもしれぬ。
She's on a break from her witchy things. Or is she? You never know with her.
だがそれは間違いよ。夢夢、運命だなどと思うでないぞ。
それは分かってます。
The witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. That originally, her relationship with George had been completely impossible. And that her magic power was so great, it could manipulate that fate. Shannon had become swept up in these sweet days and had started to fall under the illusion that all fate was revolving around her. But the witch's words made her remember. Her relationship with George had originally been impossible. Now might also be impossible in the future as well.
すまぬすまぬ。
And one more cackles. Oh, wow.
医者と同じよ。病に悩めばすがるくせに、治れば感謝も忘れる。魔女が感謝された試しはないのでな。つい卑屈になってしまった。
That's alright, I understood what you meant. It's what Twitch does when there's a dot in the middle of something, it interprets it as a link. I don't know, it is what it is.
許すがいい。
感謝の気持ちを忘れたことはありません。ベアトリーチェ様のお力で幸せな思いができていること。そして、そのお力がなければ、私とジョージ様が寄り添う運命がなかったこと、決して忘れたことはありません。
すまぬすまぬ。いじめに来たわけではないのにな。口が悪いのはわらわが性分。許されよ。それより、聞いたぞ聞いたぞ。二人きりで旅行に行ったとな。さぞや楽しかったであろう。
はい、とても楽しかったです。
Shannon's face suddenly grew bright. The witch laughed lightly as though that transformation was worth money.
もはやそなたの思い人は一方的に思うだけの存在ではない。互いに思い思われる恋人同士よ。愛に満たされた二人にとって世界はただそれだけで成立する。素晴らしき理想の世界かな。魔女も焼こうというもの。
Beatrice laughed pleasantly. The smile was without a trace of malice, making her look as though she blessed the lovers' secret meeting from the bottom of her heart. After that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. Even now, Shannon still thought of her as a creepy being. However, she was also hugely indebted to this person for bestowing the magic that had given her the relationship she had with George. So Shannon was trying with all her might not to be surprised or scared.
そうだった。ベアトリーチェ様、旅行のお土産にお菓子を買ってきたんです。よかったらベアトリーチェ様もいかがでしょうか。
ほう、魔女に土産とな。
It seemed that even the witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hadn't been able to predict that she would receive a souvenir from a pair of sweet lovers. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of the witch as a friend for the first time. Food! Oh god, no.
ほほう。ラードと小麦粉で作った東洋クッキーか。それを西洋風にチョコで包むとは、まさに和洋折衷、菓子のシルクロードよの。 何がおかしい？
いえ、失礼いたしました。
This mysterious witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on the treats one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth. Oh, that's so cute. That's such cute imagery. Oh my god. Always buy souvenirs for your local witch. Always. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter.
しそうになったぞ。そなたには今度ネロのドルチェビータでも振る舞おうぞ。バラは永遠の愛の象徴。今のそなたにはバラのドルチェこそがふさわしかろう。
The witch was in a great mood, having enjoyed the modern treats to the full.
これ、本当にありがとうございました。もう私には十分だと思いますので、お返しします。
The thing that Shannon had softly set on the table was a gold-colored butterfly brooch.
返さずともよい。それに持ち続けていれば、二人の仲はこれからも永劫に盤石であろうが。
出会いのきっかけは、確かに魔法の力で与えてもらったかもしれません。でも、その出会いを永遠のものにする努力は、二人で協力し合って続けていくものだと思います。
うん。愛もバラと同じか。過ぎた世日は根を腐らせる。苦労せねば育めぬ花もあろう。ならば、好きにするがよい。身につけず、宝石箱の中にしまうもよかろう。それは、そなたに送ったわらわの行為だ。それを返されては、わらわも愉快ではない。
申し訳ございません。そういう意味で言ったわけじゃ。
気を害してなどおらぬ。そのブローチは、すでにそなたのもの。わらわとの友情の証に、せいぜい大事にしてくれれば、少しは気も慰む。持ち続け、そのご利益を得るもよし、宝石箱にしまい込むもよし、望むなら恋路に悩む別のものに譲ろうと、そなたの勝手だ。ただ大事にしてくれればよい。さすがに粗末にされては心が痛むでな。
According to Beatrice, she had appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons, so that she could give them an item imbued with some kind of magical power. However, most of them, after they used the power to resolve their worries, would quickly come to think of that power as creepy, and forgetting their feelings of thanks, they would throw away the items they had been given with disgust.
だから、わらわの行為に素直に感謝された試しは多くない。いや、初めてか。
The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh to Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past. No, maybe she was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch with a strange and terrifying power. Most likely no one would go along with her if they could help it. And even though on occasion they had relied on her strange power, it had undoubtedly resulted in fear more often than gratitude. It must have deeply hurt the witch when that repeated over and over. From the moment that she realized this, Shannon decided to stop being frightened of Beatrice. That had surely tormented her for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked the treats. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. On such terms, the witch and the servant grew animated talking about the trip with George. Shannon didn't know much about Beatrice. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times, and it seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. It seemed that each person had something called a wavelength, and that there was a great amount of individual variation in people's ability to perceive the witch. Only Shannon and Canon could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what Beatrice said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent. And no matter how much she followed them around, they would never notice her. Previously, when Shannon had messed up and Natsuhi had gotten really mad at her, Beatrice had started playing around, hitting Natsuhi on the head with her pie. Is that why Natsuhi has headaches? Is Beatrice the source of it? Say what now? Indeed, Natsuhi seems completely oblivious. But Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking, and had gotten scolded even more.
なら、親方様だったらどうでしょうか。魔法の研究とかをなさっているそうですし、きっと、ベアトリーチェ様のお姿にも気づいてくださると思います。
I still subscribe to the ever proximity theory. Yeah, it has some substance there, for sure. あいあいあい。
金蔵も同じよ。あれにも気の毒なくらいに魔法の才能がない。血だな。同情に値するほど才能がない。
As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Kraus and the rest's lack of magic talent as though she looked down on them. But she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the Ushiromiya family would know about Kinzo's legend of the gold. According to the legend, Kinzo had summoned the witch Beatrice and had been conferred gold. In short, that implied she had some kind of relationship with Kinzo.
だからあれは才能のひとかけらもないくせに狂ったように独学を重ね魔術師の域にまで達した。
それはとてもすごいことなんですね。
うん。
The witch, who usually looked down on people, was unexpectedly praising someone. Well, she lambasted Kinzo. I have no idea what that word is. Lambasted? Kinzo, calling him talentless, she praised his efforts.
親方様は魔法の力でベアトリーチェ様を呼び出した。
うん。まあ、召喚に応えたのは気まぐれだ。魔法を否定して久しいこのご時世に、才能のかけらもない者が必死にやっているのでな。少しからかってやろうと思ったのが、わらわの運の尽きよ。
The words "just my luck" showed that this had been a disaster for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it would be alright to encourage her to continue, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon.
一応、書式もルールも揃っていた。いくつかの作法が混在していたが、まあその熱意に免じ、寛大に契約に応じてやったのだ。そしてわらわは、山なす黄金を与えてやった。
A mountain of gold just on a whim? I'm not buying this.
そして親方様は、その黄金を使って事業を成功させ、今日の財をなすのですね。
うん。魔法の才能はからっきしだが、詳細と莫細はあったようだな。いや、理不尽なる賭けに全て落とす勇気と狂気ゆえにか。狂気は時に魔力に通ずる。なるほど。その点から見れば、金蔵に魔法の才能が全くなかったとは言い切れんか。
Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. While everyone in the Ushiromiya family knew of the story that Kinzo had delved into sorcery, summoned the witch and been given gold, in actuality it was all rambling that no one believed in, and now the witch herself was telling her that it was true. Shannon felt a little flustered at this insane secret that only she knew.
そして、莫大な財産を得た金蔵は、人の世で手に入れることのできるすべての夢を叶えきった。そして、最後に世界の真理を求めたのだ。
I know, but still, How do I put it? You cannot justify everything. Oh, I just have magic. I just did it. Why did you do it? If you're this, like, 1,000-year-old existence who has helped people in the past and has never gotten a word of thanks, Shannon is the very first person who ever thanks you. Why in the world would you be like, ah, he did it all wrong, I'm gonna respond to his summons on a whim. Oh, he wants a mountain of gold? Yeah, I'll just give it to him. There's something more there. Am I? I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel so out of my depth with this novel. I'm doing my best, but I don't know.
世界の真理
Love, is that it?
世界を構成する
There it is.
一なる元素。人の世で得られるすべてを満たした金蔵は、人が求める最後の欲望として、
I'm doing great. Oh, thank
それを
you.
欲したのだ。
The single element. She felt like she had heard the witch say those words before. When Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what that was, she smiled awkwardly, waving her hand and saying, there was no need to remember.
わらわも金蔵を少し見くびっていた。まさかあれほどの力を見せるとは思わなかったのでな。おかげでこのざまだ。茶飲み友達もなく、この島にもう何十年も縫い止められている。誰に話しかけようとも声は届かず、どこへ行くこともできない。なんとも退屈な数十年だったことよ。
As she laughed in self-derision, she tapped her teacup with her finger. It made the clear sound of porcelain. Meanwhile, me when reading this part, oh yeah, witch, checks out, a mountain of gold, verily. Hey, we're all different people, we all perceive things differently, it's fine. I actually think that so far, from the feeling that I'm getting, is that you're supposed to have your own feelings about the things that have happened so far, and your own interpretations or impressions, and that is okay. Magic goes brr. It seems so. Oh, Bear, you're too kind. You're too kind. Right, so Shannon didn't know whether the word self-derision was really an accurate expression to describe the look on the witch's face. Shannon didn't understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation. And it was surely a topic that she should not press the witch on lightly, unless the witch started talking about it herself. To sum up everything she had said up until now, Beatrice, who had been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave this island for some reason, and she had lost her power and her form, leaving her days in boredom. During that time, her words had reached Shannon, who never forgot to strongly respect the witch. And she had made Shannon help her to regain her power, even if only a little bit of it. As a result, she had become able to drink tea with Shannon like this.
ベアトリーチェ様が私に割るように言ったあの鏡は一体何なのですか？
ああ、その話か。この辺りの島で大昔いろいろとあったらしくてな。そのせいで良くないものがたまり、悪い歪みを引き寄せていたのだ。それを旅の東洋魔術師か何かが鎮魂の社を建立して封じ込めたらしい。
Oh, wow.
それ自体はわらわとはどうでもいいことなのだが、困ったことに魔力の基礎が違っててな。わらわの魔力にも強い干渉を及ぼしておって、非常に迷惑していたのだ。
そうだったんですか。私はてっきりベアトリーチェ様を封じていたものだとばかり。
わらわを対象にしたものではない。だが、神格のある鏡だったからな。結果として、わらわの力を封じ込めていたわけだ。料理に例えるならこうか。わらわの注文した西洋料理が、厨房でまさに料理されているとする。 ところがいざ配膳しようとしたら、客席は日本風で、懐石料理が並べられている場だった。だから厨房は場違いな皿を出せず、わらわのところへはいつまで経っても西洋料理が届かない。
Interesting.
だからそなたに日本風の客席を打ち壊し、場を一度白紙に戻させたのだ。そのおかげでようやくわらわの注文した料理が届き、力が戻ったというところか。もっとも、ようやく食前酒が届いたというところよ。メインディッシュにはまだまだ遠い。今のわらわなど、靴屋の妖精にも劣る希薄な存在でな。
Interesting comparison. ね
何がおかしい？
魔女様の例えがあまりに面白かったもので、まさか魔法の話がお料理の話に例えられるとは思いませんでした。
Girls having tea in peace, chatting about love and magic. This novel is too pure without button battler. Oh,
我ながらうまい表現だったつもりだが、よもや笑われるとは思わなかったぞ。少し心外だ。
A slightly sulky expression rose to the witch's face. It would not have been a strange expression at all to see appear on the face of two friends as they enjoyed their tea.
こう見えても、昔は残酷極まりないことで知られたわらわだったが、丸くなったものよ。人間とこうして、たあいない話で茶を交わせるようになるのだから。
She was probably talking to herself. As Beatrice gazed at the sea birds tracing the horizon, she put her tea to her lips
雲が
again.
出てきたな。海も精彩をかけば、灰色の水たまりに過ぎぬ。
そうでしょうか。曇っても海は美しくて真っ青だと思います。
Maybe the witch had noticed the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty
も
teacup.
はや、そなたの両目に埋められているのは、黒い石ころではないらしい。どうだ？家具から人間に生まれ変わった気持ちは、理解できておるか？
はい。世界がこんなにも優しかったなんて知りませんでした。
Since her relationship with George had begun, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile had made everything go smoothly and had even changed her luck. Shannon made fewer mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was starting to change slightly. Just the other day, Kraus, who rarely exchanged words with her, had suddenly started talking to her, surprising her.
最近いい笑顔をすることが多くなったじゃないか。何か良いことでもあったのかね。
いえ、でも楽しい毎日です。はい。
良いことじゃないか。同じコーヒーなら笑顔で継がれた方がうまいに決まっている。その笑顔でもう一杯頼めんかね。
はい。
Oh, that's so wholesome of Kraus. What the heck? That had become a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her own heart, and it wasn't so big a change that everyone could see it. But she had begun to change, bit by bit. Shannon understood it clearly. To know love was to gain a soul. Aww. Aww. And therefore, to be born again from furniture to a human. There was absolutely nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. These tiny moments showing different sides of the characters is so good. Yeah, I am absolutely surprised. I don't feel like this was like the Eva moment earlier, where she was just disguising her venom. I think that was he actually meant it. That's cute. By knowing love, Shannon had learned what it was to be human.
珍しい茶化をちそうになったな。有意義な時間であった。そろそろ仕事に戻らねばならぬ時間であろう。茶会はこれまでにしよう。そなたとわらわが茶を飲むことを 好かん者もおるようでな。
The witch gripped the teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, sending it up in the air. It did say crows didn't praise her often. Yes. But still, I just want to say that it was rare, but to me it felt genuine. So it was cool to see it. Then it was flicked by the fingers of some invisible person in empty space and flew straight into a bush close nearby. The bush moved violently and Canon came out. It seemed that he had been there for some time and had been watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he had not been able to catch it by reflex, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood.
安心せよ。茶会はこれで終わるぞ、カノン。
いつからそこにいたの？声をかけてくれれば、カノン君の紅茶も入れたのに。
女同士の語らいを邪魔したくなかったのであろう
Canon kept silent, but it seemed that there was a slightly hostile look in his eyes. On the outside, he acted respectfully, but unlike Shannon, Canon did not trust the witch. Beatrice rapped the table with her pipe, and the tea set turned into gold butterflies, which flew upwards in unison. They scattered in every direction, and the cleanup was already done.
楽しかったぞ、シャノン。また縁があれば会おうぞ。まだまだ魔力が足りぬでな。姿を現すのも疲れる。
そんなに疲れるなら、二度と現れるな。
Canon had said it in a small voice, but it seemed the witch had heard it perfectly. She giggled, but did not reply.
シャノン、次の茶会では、ジョージとの話をまた聞かせておくれ。人の恋路より甘い茶花は他にない。それでは、さらばだ。
I don't know if he's necessarily rude. He's being a bit abrasive, I will give you that. But I think in his heart of hearts, he's trying to protect Shannon. Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies, which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a very fantastical and beautiful scene, like a blizzard of gold leaf. For a while, Shannon quietly watched the witch's exit. Canon approached her from behind and spoke with a very different expression on his face than his sister's.
姉さん、あいつと付き合っちゃダメだって言った。
ベアトリーチェ様はそんなに悪い人じゃない。確かにちょっと怪しいところはあるけれど。
僕たちにしか姿が見えない時点で十分にうさんくさいよ。あいつは人間じゃない。何を企んでるかわかるものか。
カノン君、それは少し失礼だと思うな。
Shannon spoke seriously, which was unusual for her. To Canon, who knew her well, it must have seemed extremely serious. Canon showed almost excessive surprise at Shannon's style of speech and remained silent.
確かにベアトリーチェ様は人間とは違う。恐ろしい力を持っているし、恐れ敬わなければならない存在だと思う。
Shannon also thinks it's rude.
でも、人間とは違うからといって、それだけを理由に忌み嫌うのは、とても失礼なことだと思うの。
姉さんの言いたいことはわかるよ。姉さんは、あいつにあのブローチをもらってから変わった。まるで魔女の虜だよ。ジョージ様との仲を取り持ってもらって、頭が上がらないんだ。
そんなことを言わないで。
あいつは人間じゃない。何を考えてるかわからない。だから気を許しちゃダメなんだ。そして、人間じゃないのは僕らも同じだよ。姉さん。
Canon's words became more serious. Those words probably gouged at Shannon's heart. Shannon bit her lower lip and hung her head.
僕らは家具だ。たとえ名前をもらい、人として接してもらったとしても。
Sorry, I pressed too fast. You are no longer furniture. those words Beatrice had given her, which had made her happiest of all, floated through Shannon's mind.
家具じゃないよ。
家具だよ。僕たちは人間未満の存在だよ。姉さんはそこを忘れたふりをして、人間のふりをしているだけ。自分でも分かっているはずだよ。
私、家具じゃないもん。人間だもん。
いや、人間じゃない。僕らには愛する資格も、愛される資格も初めからない。
It seemed that Canon's criticisms had shifted focus from Shannon's interactions with the witch. Shannon also noticed that quickly.
お嬢様に聞いたよ。正直、呆れたね。ジョージ様と一緒に旅行に行くなんて。家具の身の程を忘れてるよ。姉さんはあの魔女にそそのかされて、自分が人間になれたと勘違いしてるだけなんだよ。
聞いてカノン君。確かに私たちは家具だよ。人間に劣った未満の存在。でも、その満たない分をもし得られたなら、それは人間になれたということじゃないのかな。
そんなもの、ありはしないよ。
あるの。それを得たなら、私たちは家具なんかじゃない、人間になれるよ。
バカバカしい。なれるものか。
Canon spat that out, but weakly, and turned away. That was probably resignation. The baptism of days upon days of suffering being furniture had firmly sealed his
な
heart.
れるよ。カノン君も普通の人間に。
よしてよ。魔女の受け売りは。
ベアトリーチェ様に教えてもらったの。私たちは世界の一なる元素を得ることで人間になることができる。それを満たさないなら、それは人間じゃない。だから人は一なる元素を得るために生涯を尽くし貫いていく。
姉さんが何を言っているのかわからないね。よまよい事なら聞きたくないよ。
なら、カノン君にもわかるように教えてあげるね。ほら、姉さんの指の先を見て。
Shannon pointed straight at the sea, at the horizon. Canon didn't understand what she was actually pointing at and couldn't do anything except look between the horizon and Shannon's expression, which looked like it was posing a riddle.
カノン君は海が何色に見える？
It was an all too simple question. Canon tried to guess the meaning behind that question for a while, but since he couldn't think of anything, he gave his answer straightforwardly.
パッとしない。ネズミ色だよ。それが何？
Nezmiro. I cut that. Objectively speaking, the sea laid out beneath a cloudy sky could probably be described best by Canon's words. But as Shannon closed her eyes and smiled, she shook her head slightly.
私には真っ青に見える。
そういう意味？緑色の信号を青っていうようなものでしょ。
違うの。海は真っ青。私には分かって、カノン君には分からないなら、これがつまり、そういうことなの。
Canon bit his lower lip and was silent for a while. I'm not sure what she's trying to say there either.
わからないよ。
カノン君、手を出して。
As Canon stood bewildered, unable to understand what she was saying, she took his arm and opened the palm of his hand. Shannon softly said something there. It was that magic brooch which she had received from Beatrice. The magic charm shaped like a gold butterfly which could fulfill love.
これはあいつの。
これは私の。だから、私だと思って、粗末にしないで。
After being told that he couldn't just throw it away, Canon didn't know what she should do. Sorry, what he should do. And he stood there confused for a while, the brooch still on the palm of his hand. Shannon put the palm of her hand on top of Canon's, and the brooch was warmed by both of their
これ
hands.
は、 本当の魔法の力を持ったお守り、きっとカノン君に大切な気持ちを教えてくれると思うの。
あいつの魔法で教えられることなんて何もない。
あるの。だから身につけて、恥ずかしければ懐に忍ばせておくだけでもいいそうなの。
バカバカしい。あいつの魔法なんかに惑わされてたまるか。
Even as he said that, Canon couldn't be cold-hearted towards something Shannon was pressing on him. In the end, Canon agreed reluctantly to take it, saying he'd prove that he wouldn't surrender to the witch's power. Shannon smiled and nodded back.
きっとカノン君は大切なことを学べるよ。きっと人間になれるから。そうすればきっとカノン君にもこの海が美しい青に見えるに違いない。
ネズミ色は何度見たってネズミ色さ。
違うよカノン君。そう見えるのは愛がないから。
Because of the howling wind, he hadn't been able to catch the critical part of what she'd just said. So Shannon said it once more. The single element of the world. She spoke once more of a world full of that element, where the sea was deep blue.
きっとカノン君にも真っ青な海が見えるよ。だって。
Without love, it cannot be seen. Alright.
そこにいるのは誰か。
Oh, there's skins on. Okay, I think this is a good moment to make a save and leave it for tonight. We are right at the correct end of the allotted time slot for the stream. So there we go. We'll pick it up from here. The quote, yes, there was the quote. I still don't know exactly what it means, but we will see. Yeah, thank you all as well for being so kindly lively in my chat. It's always a pleasure to have you around. There we are. Everything is okay. Oh, stretch. I've been sitting a little bit too much. My back is not really enjoying the chair anymore. But yeah, it's all good. Thanks again for being there, Bea. It's always it's become a real tremendous pleasure to come on these nights and share this story with you. It's I don't know where it's going in the second episode, to be honest. But I'm enjoying what we get to see, you know, extra of the characters. Don't know what to expect. Are they all gonna die again in gruesome ways? Are we gonna re-experience that? I have no clue, but so far so good. At least nobody died tonight. So that's nice. I can brace myself for next time though, I suppose. Alrighty. Yep. I see something in the channel. Bear shared a few things. They're loading very slowly. Oh, just a few cute images. Very nice. Thank you, Bear. Very, very nice. Okay. Alright, 1:45 for me. Gotta go rest. Long day tomorrow waits. But after tomorrow comes the day after tomorrow where we get to do this again. So yep, I'll be here same time. Hope you manage to join as well if you can. It's always a pleasure to have you around, like as I mentioned. Next stream, school festival. Oh, that sounds interesting. Okay, I'm all for it. I do not expect a school festival in Umineko, but okay. Let's see. Exciting. Slice of life Umineko. Okay, I'm all for it. That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Alright. For now, I shall bid you good night and take care. Sweet dreams if you are heading to rest. Or, you know, enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are on this beautiful planet. I will see you again Thursday, same time. Love you. Bye bye. Thanks for joining me again.